Welcome to another episode of For Footballers Only. I'm Mike.
I'm James Panay.
And we have a special guest.
And my name's Jarena Harmon.
Welcome, Jarena. It's a pleasure.
Yes.
All right, Jarena. Let's just get right into it. Where does your football story begin?
My football story begins with my father. He's born and raised in Liberia, and he came to the States. Didn't really have an opportunity to play soccer at a small college. So he played football American, but he wanted to be a coach.
Hold on. Time out.
This
is crazy.
So,
it's an LRB night.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking to. So I
didn't even know that.
Right. See how we just had we just talked, right? Before we started the recording, right? And this never came up, right?
This is crazy.
And then you say this. And do you know James is James is Liberian? And you know I'm Liberian?
We all Liberian at LRB tonight.
Right. All of us.
I
didn't know. Wow. This is crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah,
this probably the best show ever right here.
Right. James is full Liberian, right? Yeah. I'm mixed. I'm Liberian Nigerian, but I grew up in Liberia. I rep it. Is where
this
I am.
Is awesome.
Yeah. But anyway, let's go back.
I'm actually shocked right now. What's that shock value is settling in right now?
Yeah.
My dad's from Capamas.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
I mean, this is what I'm saying.
This world's too small.
This is crazy.
Oh man!
I'm actually never gonna cut. We're gonna keep this piece. Actually, I'm not cutting this.
Yeah. All right, go. Continue.
All right, but yeah, he came to the States. You just with everything happening. He decided to come to the States with the rest of his siblings, and he joined them. He went to college, did not get a chance to play soccer. He had to play football American, and he played, and he decided to have a couple kids. I'm the middle child. My older brother played, not for very long though, and he coached us. And I guess my parents then moved. They got their situation happening, and they moved, and the DC area, I guess, called my mom, but she ended up putting me in a program in Arlington. I don't know much about that program. I was like 3 years old. My dad was still coaching. All my parents knew was that I loved to play, football. Every single moment I had to play football. I was kicking the ball around, getting in trouble doing it around the house as children do. Mm-hmm. And my mom let me kind of develop from there. And so I was going to school in DC, and I joined DC Stoddard, which is, at that time it was the program for DC kids. We had a lot of public school kids, a decent amount of private school kids. It was pretty even. That's where you met your friends. So I fell more in love with the sport as challenges came, and I realized that I wanted to be, as great as my dad, because every kid thinks their parent is the best they've ever seen. And so I think I was maybe about 7 when my dad told me, he was like, you need to watch professionals play. Mm-hmm. So I'm turning on the TV. My dad's like, Ronaldinho's the best. This guy's the best. Everybody's the best. But, you got to find a style you like, pick it up, and the moves you like, learn them, perfect them, become a master, and then use them whenever. And so I kind of got, once I finally got a grasp for the game itself and the different ways to play, after I'm finally starting to understand formations and why positions matter and why particular players play certain positions, I tried out for a travel team, and my mom was like, you have to be 100% in, this is a hard sport. So I was like, Mom, this is no problem. I'm picking up the ball. I think it was at like the Carter Barron in DC or something. Maybe, yeah, that's where it was, the Carter Barron. Whole bunch of kids. I'd never seen this many kids playing soccer, and like, it's hundreds of kids. It's a whole bunch of people. I was like, I'm a little nervous. My mom was like, just play a game, you'll be fine. I make the team. I think from that day forward, I met probably all of my greatest friends that I'll ever have. And we all came together just on the fact that we had this unconditional love for soccer. It'll hurt you, it'll bruise you, it'll make you cry, it'll make you sad, it'll make you the happiest you've ever been. And I just knew at that point that there was nothing else in the world that I wanted to be doing. Like, I mean, I played other sports, but nothing really grabbed me and like made me want to do better than playing soccer. So, I'm learning technical skills, left foot, right foot. You know how it goes when you're younger. It's like left foot don't look too pretty or right foot don't look too pretty. And I didn't know where I wanted to be on the field. I loved being a goalkeeper because I always thought they were in command. They're just like, that's the owner of the house. They protect the goals and make everything happen. And that's really funny because I actually ended up being a forward. So I ended up being a striker. I know. I did all this goalkeeper training and it felt like for nothing, but it's fine. It made me a better forward.
Right.
It was so unfortunate. I don't know why they let me do that. But yeah, I started to, split time half and half. And then, further on in life, I became the backup keeper. And my mom was telling me, she was like, when you watch soccer games, how it'll be like 1 goal or 2 goals per side. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, you score a lot of goals. I mean, that's something a coach wants. So I was like, you're right, Mom. Goalkeeper gloves, I tossed them out the window. I was like, nah, I'm not for this. Yeah, I was just, loving life as it goes. And I kind of found, I don't know, you have your passion and then you have like your whole heart. And I found my heart at the forward position. I could be creative. I felt like I was as free as can be. There was nothing that could stop me. That feeling you get when you're playing as a forward. You can hold the whole game up, or you can speed I really felt like that was the position for me. So of course I developed more, you go through high school, the stresses of varsity teams and all that stuff. And I went to a private school. So in the area, I wouldn't say it's the best program, but, I found my light in the outside sports and outside clubs. So I played throughout high school. I eventually joined the ECNL league. I had an opportunity, I think, years are getting jumbled. It may have been the summer of my 9th grade year or the summer after my 9th grade year. Who knows? And I was playing on a different team. So I left my family, as I'd like to call them. We're still close, but I left them and I joined a new team in McLean, Virginia. So I played for McLean ECNL. And I really saw talent. Raw talent all over the country. Absolutely beautiful. I was shocked. I think my first tournament, like big tournament, may have been in Dallas, Texas. And I just remember watching people play and I'm like, this has got to be the craziest game, like the craziest experience of all time. Like I really thought that like this soccer was the world. I was like, nothing else matters. I'm watching players play. I'm watching players of all shapes and sizes. I'm talking some tall girls, you know, 6 foot, people who are 5 foot, and they're succeeding in so many different ways. And I think from that day forward, I was like, you know, you got to find the way your game looks. Like, you've got to have signature moves. Like, you've got to be either you're a calm, composed player or you're the crazy player that's, you know, diving all over the place. And of course, you know, me being a little on the more wild side, I decided to be a very feisty player, and I built my game off of that. You know, the excitement of always trying to be first to the ball and really being as hungry as, you know, a shark. And so that's kind of the mentality I had to develop into college. You know, I think my first college coach, he was like, "You're a gritty player." And I was like, that's the word I needed. You know, from now on, it's grit. You know, everything is hard, it's cut, you know, it's clean, it's fast. I'm trying to win games out here. So I can't remember. I think it was my senior year, actually, that I committed. Yeah, it was the winter of my senior year. I commit to the University of Pittsburgh. You know, I signed. My school's really small, so like everybody's going crazy. You know, they're like, "Oh, she went D1," and I'm like, "Yeah." Inside, I'm like, I've got butterflies. I'm scared. I'm hoping senior year never ends.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, I gotta prove myself. You know, I felt like I was on such a small stage the whole time, and like I get to college and I couldn't even tell you the whole drive. I felt like I could not close my eyes. I was like, if I blink, it's the end of the world, you know? And I was like, man, I've seen all these great soccer players. And I think my freshman year, my favorite player that I really, really liked to like watch may have been Neymar Jr. I mean, I was like, this boy, he's fancy, you know, he's got the cute little moves and he's got the attitude to go with it. You know, I acted like I had the attitude, but every coach like knew deep down that I was like, they're like, you gonna help that player up after you know, you beat her up a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, that's unfortunate. You know, I want attitude. So my freshman year, you know, I did the very best I could. My stats were great. I was excited. My first actual game, you know, the first season game, I had a hat trick. And so, you know, of course, everyone's on social media blowing up my spot. And I was like, now I got to maintain this. You know, you know, when you're like, nah, I done showed, you know, I showed my behind. I was really fancy. I did all this stuff and I got to maintain it. And I knew as a freshman, I was small, you know, I'm like 5'4", 5'5". I was some of these girls in the ACC. I was like, what are y'all eating for breakfast? Because why are y'all so big?
Yeah.
And I had one of my best friends. I used to be nervous before every practice. I had one of my best friends. Like she sat me down one day and she was like, yo, you do not need to be nervous. Just play your game. And I convinced her, even though she didn't play soccer, she played softball, that soccer was the most beautiful game. Like there's absolutely nothing, not a dozen amazing roses, not pure gold, but soccer, when a whole team is connected and it's a great game, even if it's a 1-0 game, but you can see the fight and the passion that every single player is running around and playing with. Like that's all you needed in life. Like that was your calm. So I, you know, made my way through my freshman year. I decided, well, you know how it goes. You're like, okay, I'm glad I had an opportunity to play here, but I think it's time for me to move on. So I ended up moving closer to home, and I played for the University of Maryland. It was a hard move for me. I was leaving a lot of friends. I felt like the seniors two seniors and a couple of juniors on that team had really changed me as a player. But I was like, I got to keep the ship moving. The train's got to keep on its track. And at the time, I really wanted to play professionally. So I was like, this is the year I got to hunker down. Sophomore year, that's when you're really hitting, you should be hitting your climax. You're your fastest. You're also, you're not as strong, but you're, you've got the most hope. And you're still, you're level-headed. So I go throughout sophomore year. I did pretty well. I was blessed to be among a new team. So it was they're really starting to rebuild. So there was really no judgment. There was no, everybody's just, we're here to win. We're doing the best we can. And you know how it goes. It's a game of soccer. We win some, we lose some. We lost a lot. At first, I thought I made the wrong decision, but then I was like, "This personal growth has got to happen." You know how it is. You get on a team and it's like everybody's good, but y'all can't seem to win. That's the situation we were in. I mean, growing up, I always had great goalkeepers, including myself. I'm not going to leave myself out of there. I think all of them ended up playing at least in college. Like I played with this girl, Sophie Whitehouse. She was probably my best friend throughout, grade school. Then I played with Caitlin, I think was next. Yeah, KJ. And so she transferred from Kentucky to Maryland. So we ended up meeting again, which was, more than exciting because friends and, we had to act a fool as we did during practices and, games. People knew we had history.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, one of the best goalkeepers I've ever seen, Rachel, she's like, not necessarily the best I've ever seen technically, and she was really good technically, but I've never seen someone be so knowledgeable about the game. So much so that I think she taught me more than, my forward peers did about being a forward. It was crazy. She would tell me, like this move you do every time, I hate that. Keep it up. Stuff like that. It helped me grow. She made me more comfortable, being a player that, everybody likes a good striker that has amazing shots and everything looks pretty. And she said at the end of the day, one goal is 1 point. It don't matter how pretty it is. And so I was, I started sliding more. I can't remember who we played. I had a diving header where I got kicked in the face, but I thought it was worth it. Everything seemed all right. There truly are no words for how amazing, at least my playing experience was, and even still is. It impacts, my daily life. I constantly think about, how I played when I was younger and how freeing it was. It's almost like it's like my state of meditation where I'm just like, man, you can recall certain moments and it's so crazy how much calm or how much excitement that can bring you.
Yeah.
And even now that I'm coaching, I think I want all of the kids, like I coach at my high school and, I'm still coaching, in the same clubs I played in. I coaching at McLean now, and I can't express. It seems like I don't have the words to tell my kids how grateful they should be just to be able to play the game, to be able to, even if you're on the bench, to be able to watch players develop and grow each and every day, and then see them perform and excel, and even to see how players respond after they fail. I really don't have the words to explain how beautiful the game still is to me, and it was at that moment in time, when I was playing. I think my senior year it finally hit me, where I'm not one who cries a lot, but I mean that last game, and knowing that might have been and probably was the last game I'll ever play, man, it's like my heart sunk, but at the same time, I was so grateful and so ecstatic to even have had the opportunity to play, play Division I soccer, and nonetheless in the ACC and the Big Ten, two very different leagues. Like the ACC was very technical, the Big Ten is, it's very athletic. Everyone is fast and strong, and they've got their head screwed on straight, and I felt like I didn't. So I really was blessed to see the field for so many years and on a great stage. And so I think I ended my career okay. I give it the definite okay. Our stats weren't great, but I can tell you I played my heart out. I think my senior game, I scored a decent goal. I wouldn't say it was my greatest goal ever. It felt like the greatest goal ever, but it definitely wasn't technically the greatest goal ever. But nice. I think my diving headers might have been amongst my top two, but scoring, I think we played Northwestern. We played Northwestern at home, and it was our senior game, and I scored the first goal. It wasn't too far into the first half. And I just remember celebrating with my teammates, and I felt myself starting to cry, but you got to tell that tear not to fall. I was so happy, and I just, it's called the beautiful game for a reason. It's just that beautiful.
Yeah.
There's no destination. There's no body.
Yeah, I can see the joy on your face now as you're reminiscing about the last game. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's so much there that I want to get into. So the first question is: you said it was the last game, but have you played since graduating college?
Yeah, I played a little futsal here and there, of course. Have to. Futsal is high key. That's where you get to embarrass your friends. So of course I played a little futsal after. I trained with one of my teammates who ended up being my cousin on my mom's side, Zoe Clark, and she went to play, I think, for the Spirit first. She went to play for the Spirit first, and then she went to Utah. I want to say that's the order, but she's a girl out of New York, a woman out of New York.
Did you know she was your cousin when you guys played?
Oh my gosh! Oh, crazy story about how we found out. We're chit-chatting it up. We're talking about where our parents are from. In the locker room, just being the crazy college kids that we are. Must have been like a Friday practice, and I finished all my classes, and we're talking about our parents and not doing anything productive. Should have been in the training room, but we were just sitting around talking. And we were talking about where our parents from, and I was like, yeah, my mom's family's from the Bahamas. And she goes, oh, word, mine too. And I was like, really? That's awesome. We start talking, and then we get into last names. And then she was like, yeah, I think her mom's a Hannah, and my mom is a Hannah Hasty. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, that. Honestly, the world is so small. It's not even funny.
It's crazy.
True. Yeah, I think we're third cousins, but
wow.
We, she didn't like me at first, so it's real funny.
Yeah. I mean, it's
she thought I was too loud and crazy.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much. One of the things, when you said you went to Pitt, I played at Pitt as well. So I thought that was hilarious.
That's crazy.
Whoa.
I was like, this is so crazy. I mean, this is crazy beyond. Crazy. But yeah, that you left Pitt and went to Maryland. I think you should have stayed. But that's just me being biased. At least one more year. 2 years at Pitt and then 2 years at Maryland. Did you like living in Oakland?
Ooh, it's cold.
Exactly, it's freezing. It's freezing. I mean, like, it's a different. Like people who have never experienced that. The only place that I've been that was colder was when we actually played Syracuse in November. It was the Big East tournament at the time. It was so like I couldn't even understand how they were still allowing us to play. Like it was that kind of cold where you couldn't sweat. You know what I mean? Like your sweat was ice. You know what I mean? Like I was like, it was ridiculous. Like I was like, yo, this is crazy. So that's the only place I've been that's been colder, but yeah, Pitt, it was freezing. We'll talk offline about some Pitt stories and all that stuff. Yeah. Let's go back to childhood. Yeah, way back to you're young, you're playing, and I think you said your dad said your dad. We might have to interview your dad one of these days too, because it sounds like he might be a baller on the low. He had to go and play American football just out of circumstance. Mm-hmm. But you say your dad originally got you watching Ronaldinho, right? And then you would watch other players, and he kept but then you found for you're like the person you connected the most with was Neymar, right? Is that what you're saying? Okay. So there's a question. So we're just gonna go straight to this question that we ask everyone. And I'm gonna tell you, and it sounds like you're heavy in the football culture. So you have people, family, friends, I mean your dad, of course, all your ex-teammates, your fellow coaches, etc. Everybody's gonna get at you because there's no right answer and there's no wrong answer, but people take it personal, right? Whatever you say, people take it personal. So the question is, who is your 11, your top 11 footballers of all time?
Top 11 footballers of all time?
Yeah. Yeah,
it don't have to be in order. It can be.
Yeah, no, there's no order, and they don't have to be. You don't have to say one per position. You could just do all forwards. You could do all midfielders, or defenders, or goalies. Yeah. You could do all Brazilians. I mean, like whatever you want to do, it's up to you. But just know that whatever you say will be used against you when this drops.
Hey, why are you trying to get me in trouble? Wait. This is a trap. That's actually crazy. Okay.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is.
Let's see. Top 11. Okay, out of respect, I've got to have Messi, of course.
Okay. That's one.
You have to. I feel like it's a must.
Yeah.
Gotta have Ronaldo up there.
Which
You
Ronaldo?
gotta have, huh?
Which Ronaldo?
Here's okay. Why are you trying to get me in trouble? Okay.
No, I'm just saying, just for clarity. Which are you talking about Cristiano? I mean,
I am.
Okay. All right. No, that's fine. That's fine.
I am.
Okay, all right. That's fine. So
some people have their, about them, but you gotta have Ronaldinho. You've gotta have, of course, because I just mentioned, you gotta have Neymar. I think this is crazy, and you might not have had a lot of people say some stuff, but Hope Solo.
Wow. Okay.
Regardless of social.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, I was a goalkeeper once.
Yeah.
So I think that's my definite 5 that I love.
Yeah.
Okay, are you talking about best playing or best as far as what they've done for the game?
It's up to you. It's your list. You're trying to
no.
It's just however you interpret it. So you already have 5. You just need 6 more. That's it. Oh.
I'm already at 5. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Maradona. Okay, and I know I'm gonna tell you why I say that. It's because of the actual move that has been incorporated in the game. I know people are gonna be like, but really? Okay, I just need to clear my name before stuff happens.
Okay.
Let's see. This is crazy, but I'm gonna name some female players. I know there are some people otherwise and whatnot, but Sydney Leroux, one of my favorite female players. Mm-hmm. Regardless if she's not playing the best position, it's she's not a striker. Rapinoe, these are classic. Wait, what am I at now? Are you 8. Okay? You got 8.
Yeah, 8. Yeah.
8.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, 3 more.
Okay, that's fine. 8. Okay, that's really wild that we ended up here already. Man. This is hard. This is crazy. My dad always talked about Togawia.
Yeah, your dad's smart.
So got it. Gotta rap. I'm trying to be smart with my choice right now.
I was like, hold on, she better. I was waiting.
Hold on. Okay. I don't want to be crazy out here.
Yeah, 2 more.
2 more?
Yeah.
Dang. 2 more. I'm gonna say Mia Hamm just because I was forced to. If I'm gonna name a whole bunch of women, I have to name, I guess the person who made women's soccer seem big, even though it already was, and then Martha, because that girl filthy.
Nice.
That's
a tough list.
That's a tough list.
Yeah. No,
that's George Weah there. Your list just got.
That's a tough list. No.
Look, I wouldn't play any one of them. Not trying to embarrass myself out here.
No, that's a list. That's a list that I think anyone that knows the game would be proud of. Do you know what I mean? Like
True.
it's like all the women players you name
Classic.
are obviously Hall of Famers and
all
this. Like all of them are game changers. Do you know what I mean? Even like, even Hope. Like Hope was a game changer. Like the way she changed that position.
Culture, culturally.
Yeah. And so you got. I think it's an official list. Now your football community they might get at you. You know what I mean? Like of course it's
all right. Look,
there's so many people you left off the list, but we're not.
You need a warning. Like starting 11 is that's a hard question.
Yeah.
I'm over here stressed. I'm like, nah, yes, no. Like inside, that's a hard question. And there's so many different styles.
That's true.
Hard out here.
Yeah. No, that's
yeah.
No, that's tough. That's
an interesting list.
Yeah. I think you did well. Yeah. Another question is, you ran through that entire trajectory from, playing as a young player, even in school, and then going club and travel, and then going to college, and playing there, getting busy, and then going to a challenging team. And then you've now transitioned into coaching. What do you find the most challenging thing in your current role in football?
Most challenging. That's a really good question. I haven't really thought about that. I think it just might be realizing that each player is different and each player brings something different to the game. And I think as a coach, something that I'm still learning how to do is help my players understand that. Help them grasp the idea that, in this game, you playing in the center is everything I need. Like, do you to the best of your ability. And then when we play this team, I need you to sit back a bit. Explaining and helping players understand that you can't always be the you want to be for the game. You need to follow what the game gives you is probably the hardest part, because the game allows you, the game can make you look good, and it can also make you look real bad. Okay, it can expose you, and it can expose your weaknesses. And I think just depicting that or illustrating that for my players is probably the hardest part. Next to me not playing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that is
a tough one. That was a tough one. Yeah. So to add on that, right? Because you said like every player bring different situations to the game. What did you bring to when you was playing your playing time that was different? That was making the game better. What did you bring to the game?
The easy answer is goals. I guess the longer aspect of that is when people say like you have a a knack for the net, or, you know, the balls attach them. I didn't have that, but I had, yeah, I started off like that, but it's really not like that. I had the like ball is mine effort. So like I said before, like that grittiness and willingness to do any and everything within the laws of the game, that's what I brought to the table. And that's what I could consistently bring to, you know, each team I was on, whether it was, you know, youth soccer, or, you know, high school soccer, and even on the college level.
Yeah. For both a player and a coach, what was your worst mistake, or what has been your worst mistake?
You like two separate questions?
Yeah. As a player, what was your worst mistake? And then as a coach, what has been your worst mistake?
As a player, my worst mistake would probably be playing through injuries I knew I shouldn't have. Like, you know, adductor issues, hamstring issues. I mean, I wouldn't say I lied, but I didn't necessarily tell the truth to my coaches. You know, I wasn't 100% honest.
Yeah.
You know, I tell my players all the time, don't lie to me. But I know that they straight up just be be telling me anything. If it hurts, how much can I go in the game? You know, I was that player. I definitely was trying to read the wrong situations, and I think I could have probably had a longer playing career, you know, if I didn't miss, you know, like half my games junior year. Not actually miss, but like I was in and out, you know. I'd tell my coach I was good to go in. Next thing I knew, you know, I was dragging my leg behind me, like, what happened? Yeah, so that's my worst as a player. As a coach, I think as a coach, the worst thing I've ever done, I mean, when I was coaching my first year, I basically told my high school team, I was like, these girls are good. I was like, look, we don't have all of our personnel. We're a little short staffed. And I parked the bus. I straight up parked the bus. And I was disappointed in that decision. I mean, I was like, look, man, we're gonna play a 5-1, but it's really a 9. You know, it's 9 of you guys, and then there's gonna be one person up top that might be able to get a situation going. So someone's gonna be really upset.
Literally parking the bus.
I know. Oh, goodness.
No. When I tell you I parked the bus,
You did.
There was nothing happening.
Oh my God.
Yeah, It was bad. It was real bad. It was like maybe my 5th game I'd ever coached.
Okay.
And I looked at the other team. I said, you know what? We're going to switch it up today.
Were you guys in the
not
lead?
Not even for the bad.
What was the score? What was the score?
I think we ended up losing maybe 5-1. Wow. 5-1. We also had, I'm not even going to talk about injuries, but we had the most unfortunate injuries back to back, and I really thought that someone was out to get me. I was like, it can't be. It just can't be another injury. Mm-hmm. I think, and I let the whole situation just, you know, diminish the faith I had in my team and in their playing ability and in my coaching ability. But yeah, it's bad decisions, you know?
What, okay. So actually I want to talk about this, what you brought up about lying to your coach or the training staff about your injury. So I think I mean I don't know if James had this experience, but I did this at every point in my career.
Yeah.
And as I'm looking back obviously now, how bad, when you look back in retrospect, it's really bad. But what I also try to do is, because I did it at every point in my career. So even when I was in college, right? Because I knew what I did in high school, and I know how bad that was. It's not it's bad, right? And then I go to college, and then the same thing is happening, and I'm doing it, and I'm remembering how bad the decision was in high school, but yet I'm still doing it.
Yes.
And so what I'm really trying to get at is, I don't know how, how is it possible to change this mindset, this approach, for ballers that
just want to play.
Yeah, because the issue is that you and I don't know. Okay, so for me, maybe it was like the game was a part of my identity, right? And so
Absolutely.
if I'm not playing, then it almost felt like a part of me wasn't existent, right? So if I'm not in crutches, or it's clear the X-ray shows that this bone is poking out or whatever it is, I'm gonna finagle my way and say, yeah, I'm good, you know what I mean? Just testing it out,
Right.
and then you damage yourself even more. But even at different periods, obviously, the more advanced you get in your career, you have more of a support staff, and they're supposed to they're doing everything in all the they're running you. I'm sure you experienced this at Pitt and at Maryland. There's all of these tests that we're supposed to go before we're ready for the game, and I'm just faking it the whole time. I'm in the most pain, but I'm I'm good. I'm good. You know what I mean?
I'll play this game today.
You know what I mean? I'm faking it to the most, and so they can't even I can't even blame them because they're going off of what I'm saying. They're
absolutely cannot blame them.
So I don't even know how you get around this, and the reason I'm concerned about this, especially with the. Like I told you, with DC11, we're developing these young players, etc. And, these guys and girls are, as passionate about the game as, we were playing. And I can already see they're doing this. Do you know what I mean? Somebody should not, you clearly just sit down. You know what I mean? It's just a training session. Sit down. But no, they can't, they want to get into the training session, And so I'm trying to find some tools or techniques on how to help players early on develop the skill set to not do this, because it's no good. So I'm asking you, is it?
I have a question for you. I'm gonna flip that back on you. Did you learn your lesson?
Well, now, not when I was playing.
But here's the thing: you knew what you were doing was wrong, right?
Yeah.
You knew, some part of you was like, this is stupid, but it's gonna be worth it type stuff. Everybody had that moment. I know everyone has had that moment if you're balling in any sport. So I don't know if there's an answer to your question. There were so many times I'd be like, you know what? Last time I did this, and I'ma just tell him what's up. I go to that trainer and I'm like, it's really not bad. It's like they, how they always ask you the pain scale.
Yeah.
You over there knowing it's an 8. You talking about 3, but there's no answer to that.
Yeah.
I think, it's one of those things where you just can't help yourself. It's, for lack of better terminology, playing is like a drug. You can't get away from soccer. You can't get away from football. It follows you. It is who you are. It's everything you are becoming and everything you once were at the same time. Like, you can't escape that desire to be a part of the game. And I think because of that aspect, there's just, you've got to be more than a genius, and you've got to have something that clearly I didn't have and neither of y'all had to be like, hey, I'm going to sit this one out, and like, I'm going to take it, I'm going to sit this one out just like coach said, just like the trainer said, just like the doctor said,
And to add on that, so the thing is, I mean, it's true. Everything you guys went through, I've done it, and I still do it to this day, right?
See?
But what I notice is, like, the professionals, right? I think when the professional sometimes I'm watching, I'm like, what? If that was me, I'll still be playing, but they'll literally just sit down and it's done. But in my mind, I'm like, what? Boy, you better be playing. But I just think that's the discipline there, because these guys know the season is a longevity. So I think that's what we should tell the kids. Like, it's the season is long.
Yeah, and actually, as we're talking about this, I'm thinking part of it is like growing up, no one had this conversation. Like, it wasn't talked about, right? If you got injured, it was almost like, well, you're injured, and
so what?
You're at risk of losing your spot. You know what I mean? Like if you stay injured for I mean, in college, like, that's definite. Like, if you injure for too long, somebody's gonna come in and get busy, and then it's gonna be a war zone for you to come and win back your spot. You know what I mean? Like, because so that plays into the psychology as well. I mean, and so in high school, I mean, it is all along, and so so maybe part of the trick is, like, early on, like, what James is saying is that the part of the youth development is that we work with players on dealing with injury. If you're injured, or, it's fine. Like, it's not like we're holding the spot for you, but you're going to work your way back in. And this is a long process, similar to your development as a footballer. It's a long process. And so same with injury management. But if you don't manage it, you end up shortening your entire career. Like, we all know, a lot of us have the knee and ankle and hip, and you know what I mean. Like there's a bunch of us that like at 30 we can't even walk. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
oh boy,
can't even walk. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy out here. But yeah, so
I want to add a question to that, right? Because you mentioned, like, Ronaldinho and Neymar, especially as a top striker as you. What was one of your best moves that you did as a striker? Or some of your favorite move?
My favorite move?
Wait, your favorite dribble? Move?
Man, I love playing with my back to players. I feel like that's that Houdini aspect. So I'm one of those players that I literally would just place my body up against someone, pull the ball across my body and go. I'm shielding that ball and hitting it to goal. I'd say that's probably my most likely move. But I'd say my favorite move to do just for fun is a Maradona, and that's why I had to add add him to the list, because I think any player, coach, person who saw me from like age 17 down probably saw me do that move at least a couple of times.
Nice.
That was my finesse move. That's that. You walk off looking at the goalkeeper like, come on, you know? It's like, I know you saw that, even if you missed the shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, the fire's starting, and that's the spark right there.
Nice.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah. What was your most memorable moment as a player? Was it the freshman year at Pitt, banging in those 3 hat trick?
Or the diving header?
Freshman year?
Oh, the diving header? Or this is a really hard question. Y'all are asking some really hard questions right now. You're really making me think, you know. But I'm gonna say no to my freshman year, scoring a hat trick, my first actual game back, because for some odd reason, like, I think there's a video on YouTube, and just like, you know, whatever tournament we were in or whatever, you know, game we played, that school's interview person asked me a couple of questions, and my answers were just like non-existent, because I was so shocked at the game and no one let me process that I just played like officially my real college game that will, like, this was the start of my actual college career. No one let me process that. So I feel like I still haven't hit that point. So that can't be my most memorable moment, because a lot of that's still hazy. Like, things were happening fast. I don't know. My teammates were like, you ain't play like that in practice. I was like, I definitely did. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I could not miss that game. So it was, yeah, that can't be my most memorable. But I think I'm gonna have to say my senior game, a moment scoring the goal. It was the first time in my life that I had like almost lost my like breath. Like, I'm telling you, after I scored the goal, I felt like I was just weak to the game. Like, if that makes any sense to you, like the build up, like I already knew once I saw that build up happening, you know, midfielders passing it to one of our wingers. Our winger sends me in an early ball. I just noticed the keeper inching out, and I was like, oh, about to pop this right over her head. I was like, I'm right outside the 18, and, you know, I'm not really a distant shooter. I was like, you know what? Just do it. When the ball hit the back of the net, like, I remember everything so vividly, but at the same time, like, it's like the lights went out. So that's gotta be my most memorable moment.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's I'm actually surprised that did you suffer a serious injury in like after college or your senior year? And the reason I'm asking is I'm surprised that you're not still playing, because even now, when you talk about the game, right? It's like a love story.
There, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
you should be out there right now playing. Like,
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you should be with your cousin in Utah or, you know, in Europe or whatever, getting busy.
I agree.
So, you know, something to consider. You know, I mean, you say you're still training, so, you know, I'm sure you're still.
I am still training. You know what I'm saying? I do. Yeah, there are definitely days, moments where I'm like, you know, it's not too late, and I really do believe that. So, you know, in the next 2 years, if I decide to play pro, I'll let y'all know. I'll come back and be like, you know what?
We have to do, like, when you're going into preseason. You know what I mean? Like, wherever you sign to, when you go into preseason, we have to do, you know, a touch base and let the folks know what you're about to hit him with. It's gonna be like one of those things. It's your first game. You hit him with the hat trick. You know what I mean? It's gonna be like, you know.
Look, you have to. I had a motto. I was like, every team I'm on, I have to have at least one hat trick, and I really did. I never played on it without having a hat trick. So
no, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, that might be it. I might just have to score a hat trick and walk out.
Yeah, I mean, just call it a day. That's a great way to finish your career. And on go pro and then hit them with a hat trick. And then everybody's calling your name and trying to find out what's going on. So now yeah. Now you're a coach. How long have you been coaching?
I started like doing technical sessions when I was 16. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I think I was 16. So I'm 24 now. But I think the first time I ever coached a team was right after college.
After college, I know.
I was like, you know what? I knew I couldn't leave the game. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I knew I couldn't leave the game. You can never actually leave the game. Even my dad, like, he's a grown old man, but he's, let you pull out a soccer ball around him. Kick the ball one time, see what happens.
Actually, I mean that
drop everything and play.
Yeah. So do you guys? I'm going to come back to the coaching question, but let's talk about your dad a little bit. Do you guys play? You and him play each other? And growing up, did you play each other?
Oh yeah, my dad would definitely, even as he was getting older, he'd act like he wasn't hurt. He'd be over there trying to play. We played. And then when I got older, he didn't really play with me as much. He was afraid to get that work. He was really afraid that I'd make a fool out of him.
So what was his
was. He didn't really
hold on. We can't disrespect the OGs.
Yeah.
When he sees this, he's gonna come for you. He's gonna tell you.
Wait, cut that part out. Cut that part out.
He's gonna tell you. You know what? Let's go right outside to the park and let's get busy. I'm telling you, the OGs don't play. You know what I mean? So he's gonna give you that work. I'm telling you. So be ready.
Y'all can still cut that part out. You know what I'm saying? You could that could be between us. It could be ours.
I got you. Pops has to see that. He's gonna see it and he's gonna get at you.
Yeah,
that's funny. Oh man! All right, but okay. So let's go back to
coaching.
Yeah, to coaching. Would you say? So you've been coaching for technical training maybe 8 years, but really coaching about 3 or 4. And what do you think you do differently as a coach than other coaches?
What do I do differently? I'm not gonna knock anyone, but I feel like the skeleton of my coaching is really, based upon individual players being themselves. Like I don't want any of my players to not have a blast while they're playing, lose themselves in, it's got to be like this, it's got to be like this, it's got to be like that. I really, every drill, I do is some aspect, like even if it's the tiniest aspect, it's got, you've got to be creative in this situation. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I'm going to teach you how to evaluate the game, how to evaluate players, how to evaluate the ball you're about to receive, right? So I think that's something different that I bring to at least the women's game more so than anything. I mean, it kind of makes me sad when I get players and I see players who like, what else could you have done? They're not able to, look at the game and say, man, well, I'm not that fast. Instead of me trying to beat this player, maybe I slow up, catch them, hit the ball off of the defender, let's get a throw in. I'm really teaching players how to see themselves in particular situations, teaching them how to play within their strengths and, balance out against their weaknesses.
Nice. Well, it's been a pleasure.
Yes.
We had a blast. We learned a lot. We haven't learned that we are cousins yet, but maybe that's that's after we stop the recording. Yeah, that's yet to come. I mean, I think it's hilarious that we came into this not knowing all the connections from Pitt, Liberia, etc. But no, it's been a blast. I really, I enjoy your stories, and even more so, I enjoy, I really want young kids to watch this and see the joy that you have, at 24 and, a couple of years removed from actively playing, to understand the kind of joy that, the game can bring, and the memories that you create along the way. And so, thanks a bunch for joining us and sharing your story. It's a great story, and we definitely have to do a part 2 when you
preseason.
Get ready for preseason for that.
Yes.
That major contract.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There you go. I'll have y'all to thanks. I'll be like, you know what? Let me just shout out my mans real quick. Yeah. No, thank you so much for having me, James, and he's always been sweet to me. So, thanks to him as well. But thank you guys so much for having me.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks.
How can folks get in touch with you if they want to reach out? They're looking for this amazing forward. They're looking for an amazing coach. This could be somebody trying to reach you to sign a contract.
Yeah, never know.
All right. Well, first of all, you can always reach me on my email, JA Harmon, HARMON 17 @gmail.com. That's my personal email. Really not into giving out my phone number, but I don't have to, because there's so many forms of social media.
Exactly.
I'm on Facebook. You can search me on Instagram, Jarena Harmon, JARENA HARMON. Don't forget the @ sign in front of that, because apparently that matters. But yeah, I'm not on TikTok, but I'm on other social media. I am on Facebook as well.
Nice.
LinkedIn, because adulting, but it's all good.
Adulting, that's a good one. Oh man, but yeah, no, it's been a pleasure.
Definitely.
Yeah, we had a
Thank you.
blast.
Oh, it was really my pleasure. Thank you guys so much. You know, I'm gonna have to listen to y'all a little more. I'm gonna have to actually come out and see, you know, what's going on with your club.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
I,
yeah, yeah. I mean that's a whole nother conversation, but yeah, definitely, the invite is live. You know, definitely come through. We'd love to have you, as a guest coach. Just
Yeah.
talking football with, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we practice is over at 7 and we're still out there at 8:30 still talking football. You know what I
I
mean?
know how it is. I know how it is.
Like definitely,
Yeah.
yeah, we definitely have to make that in person happen as well.
It'll be nice. Even talking to some of our the young ladies on the team.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, great. So, yeah.
Yep.
Look, we love young ballers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They bring that energy, makes you remember that that love. I always say that football is my first love. It will always really be my only love because forget people. But no, yeah, I'd love to come out, you know, and see your players. I'm sure that y'all have some talent and some fiery players out there.
Yeah.
You know, these kids are something else nowadays. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to stay in contact and all that good stuff.
Indeed. Yep. All right.
Thank you.
Well, thanks a lot.
All right, thank you. Have a great night.